mic is on.
Oh, good afternoon.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. This is episode 4 of Live from Rabs, and we appreciate you being here and joining us once again. First,
Mic is on.
lower your volume.
Good afternoon. Hi, everybody.
I thought we had this down pat, but we're getting there.
Well, you forgot. What have we learned?
So we're gonna add to the what have we learned or what we need to remember. If you're gonna pick up your comments on your phone through your watch party, you have to lower the volume so we don't hear the noise through your phone.
I didn't realize I had to lower the volume.
Well, you'll notice we look a little bit better today. Special thanks to Keith Wunderlich hooking us up with a new camera. So thank you, Keith. It does. It looks nice and clear.
And we also look better because Melissa Kammerer has joined us.
Our super coach, Melissa, is our special co-host today. And Naz, look at this. We're doing a better job.
Better.
I can't do it because I'll touch you guys.
We're trying to figure out separate tables type thing when we bring in other people. It's a little difficult with the space we got. So we're working on it. So thank you for joining us today. We've got a nice show lined up.
We got a great show today. Joining us, we have Coach Extraordinaire, Vice President of the Kegel Training Center in Lake Wales, Florida, and Director of the bowling program at Weber University, Del Warren. So we're super excited about that.
And then we finally got Joe DeModio. We're going to bring them in shortly. So we want to thank them, of course, for coming on and joining us. So that's great. Joey, after we finished yesterday, Joe finally got connected. So if you saw our post and saw our picture, we got Joe in there. So we learned, and add to the list of things we've learned, you can't use Firefox to use the platform we're on. So we can add that to Joe's.
The list is long and getting longer.
So we're not bowling. It's another day here. We're not bowling. I have to throw it out there. I have to say, awesome job, Rob Butler. I don't know if you're watching, but if you're watching, shoot us a hello. He runs the Sunday night Donna Zajac Memorial League, and they have this great Facebook page where they interact with each other. And Rob is always posting content every week. And he has a bowler of the week, matches of the week. And so this week, he simulated, the last 2 weeks, he simulated some bowlers and some matches. So we want to give a shout out. The bowler of the week is Jairo Rojas in the Donna Zajac Memorial League.
Congratulations, Jairo. And thank you, Rob.
And thank you, Rob. And this is when our production assistant would hold up the applause sign once again to our audience of one. And then, Naz, I think we're all trying to make the best of what we have at from home. Teachers went back to school this week, working from home. I'm seeing lots of crazy posts from our teacher friends.
Yes.
Trying to make the best of it. Our homeschool friends, it's a lot. So Charlie DiBiase picked up a video and did a little story of one of our own, Timmy McAuliffe and his wife Francesca. So visit SI Live and check it out. We're going to have them join us over the weekend at some point. They're supposed to be in class right now, so they can't join us at 2 o'clock. So they're in class learning from home. But go check out SI Live. They are doing what they can to make the best of it. And they've got this great little song they wrote. We're going to spare you of it. We want you to go visit SI Live and check it out for yourself. It's a great piece as they are doing their part, encouraging their students during these times. So,
and to add a little fun to the situation, a little relief.
For sure. So let's bring in Del, and Del is joining us from beautiful sunny Florida. We believe is it beautiful and sunny?
Hi, Del.
Hello.
It's maybe a little delayed.
Hello.
Hey, here we go. You still there?
can't hear us.
Hi. We see you. Can you hear us? We heard you. So whatever you did in the meantime when we were working before, we can't hear you. But we could hear you. You can't hear us.
Hello.
Hey, yes, we can hear you.
Can't hear us.
He can't hear us. We just had it going. It was just perfect. We just had a conversation with him before. Let's try this. Is it any better? Something you did in the universe.
Was that FedEx?
Mm-hmm. Hello? Did that change anything? Shoot him a note. All right. So we lost Del there for a moment. So Joe, you're not the only one who experienced technical difficulties yesterday. So Joe, welcome to the show.
How are you?
We're doing all right. Sorry, I had you muted there for a moment. We're going to get Del back in here. So Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, feeling all right. How about you guys?
We're good. We're good.
I put up that big story today about the bowling show, so hopefully people are be watching now, looking on.
All right, there's Del.
Can
Del,
you
you
hear
with
me
us?
now?
All right, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All
fine.
right.
Here we go.
Welcome back.
All right.
Hey Joe, thank you for the plug today.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
So we
welcome.
appreciate that. Hey, so Del's got a list of titles, and he does so much in the bowling community. And so, one, thank you, Del, for joining us. Two, we know there's a lot we could talk to you about, and we've got Joe with us, and I'm sure Joe's going to pipe in and might have something for you. So, Naz and Melissa have some pressing questions for you.
Sure, guys.
One, what's going on in sunny Florida right now at the Kegel Training Center?
Well, currently we're closed, as everyone else is. But if things had been, and we're hopefully, get up running here as soon as possible. Well, we're getting ready for the summer, and as you guys know, in youth bowling, there's always a lot to do. Mainly our camps. That is basically the training around junior gold. And I know more and more people are investing into junior gold, and they're bringing big groups. So hopefully this year, as things start to normalize, whatever that is going to be after we get through this crisis, we'll get back on our regular schedule. And normally we have 3 camps during the summer, plus all the other activities around youth bowling. Like Teen Masters and Junior Gold. And right now, we're also the exclusive sponsor for Teen Masters, which is going to be in Richmond this year. And I fear the product. It's just different. It's a much smaller event, obviously, than Junior Gold. And I get a chance to see in the country the enthusiasm that's around youth bowling right now. I think is really unprecedented. And you're starting to see a lot of. I think the coaching is getting better in the United States. There's a lot more places for kids to go to get good coaching.
Yeah, we agree, Del. Oh, do we still have him?
Hello?
Yeah.
You're there. You were cutting in and out. No, we wholeheartedly agree. And the momentum at Junior Gold is that pinnacle event where you've got thousands of kids going.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Did we lose you again? Check your Wi-Fi in your place. You talk about that Momentum Junior Gold, and we've got almost 30 kids from the area
Okay.
going to compete, and certainly looking forward to that. But you're right.
No, I'm here.
It's been awesome.
So Del,
Um,
Del, having been a college coach,
yes.
vice president of a Kegel training center, and doing individual coaching like you do at the training center, what do you think of those three really captures what you love to do?
Well, college, I think, has really turned my life around. I can even say that about my wife. We don't have kids. And this has just been a blessing for us in a way that I didn't even realize 12 years ago now. This is our 12th year. And it just kind of, the Weber relationship happened by accident. They were looking to start a bowling team. They didn't even know about us, and we're only 7 miles away. And we didn't know about them, and I'd only lived here about 2.5 years. But as we've gotten more and more into this college bowling thing, I thought this was going to be very part-time. We train a bunch of kids to bowl better. That would be easy. Take them to a few tournaments. That would be easy. Lay out some balls. That would be easy. But I think I was a pretty naive person on the magnitude of responsibility and how hard it is to do this if you really want a top level college program. But not only that, the amount of time this takes that we spend on this, along with all my other responsibilities at Kegel. And but it's really been a nice marriage. So I would say my passion and my heart has really gone into this. It's so much fun. I've experienced every possible emotion during a college bowling season that you can imagine, from the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows, and watching kids grow up in front of your eyes, becoming great friends, going to weddings. We've had kids born now that are alumni. We've had 6 marriages, I believe. Already we've had 1 divorce.
It's the circle of life.
I mean, it's really incredible. And then I would say probably the most fun part of the Kegel job is have people come in that are so frustrated. Especially I work with a lot of seniors here in Florida that are so frustrated because what I call the myths of bowling, that they have this picture in their head of what they have to do, what they think they have to do to score and get better. And as you guys know, once you get a wrong idea, and I'm a golfer, either in bowling or golf, and it sends you off in the wrong direction, it actually can be quite frustrating to the point where people quit. And certainly if you do some things not correctly in bowling, you can actually get hurt. So to work with somebody that's really read a lot of books, been to camps, been down, spend a ton of money on equipment, and to sit there and work with them and do an evaluation and work with them for 45 minutes and get them on the right track where they see instant results, and the look on their face, to me, is the most favorite part of my Kegel job. It really is incredible. And I can tell you that 20 years ago, I've been a gold coach since inception. But I'm a far better coach now that I've been, worked at Kegel than I was, even the beginning of gold coaching. To be able to see something and really take a customer and defrag them because they have so many of the wrong ideas in their head that you really have to kind of reset them and really simplify what bowling really is. And it gets to the point where I even just say, listen, if you hit the pocket more than me over 10 frames, who's going to win? And then a light bulb goes off in their heads, of course. I said, so forget about RGs, differentials, bowling balls. Most of my customers bowl on house shots. And I'm like, okay, what do you have to do right now just to hit the pocket? Forget about carry and entry angle and all this clutter that's in your head. Just hit the pocket. And as we know, if you're bowling on a recreational condition, proprietors today, with the help of John Davis's Kegel machines, I mean, they can replicate a pattern every day. And let's face it, I mean, recreational conditions are pretty easy, much easier than I would have ever thought bowling would have gotten 30 years ago. And just getting somebody in the right part of the lane, and they said, which ball should I use? I go, it doesn't matter. Pick one. Pick one. I don't care. There's wet over here. There's dry over there.
Throw it.
I mean, just line up the way you line up and throw it. And a lot of times, just by simplifying the game a little bit and getting them, taking the wristband off, getting them from a really bad position with their hand, and a lot of times, even throwing what they would think is a weak shot or a spare ball down the lane, and seeing the ball speed go up, and simplifying the game for them really makes a huge difference. And in a very short period of time, you can get their averages up 10 to even 20 pins, mostly because you're just taking a lot of the clutter out of their head. Now, because I'm a golfer and I'm a very passionate golfer, I know what clutter in your head's all about. So I can appreciate that very much. And so those are the two things that I really love about my job.
So, Del, tell us a little bit about this, the Kegel coaching master's program.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. So a few years ago, the coaches that I work with, they're all my best friends. And in particular, Randy Staten and Ruben Garagosian. I play a lot of golf with those guys. They're my two best friends right now. And, between everyday work and what we do socially, I certainly spend the majority of my week with them. But we believe that there was a need in the world for some advanced material for coaches. And there's been a new influx with as good as the USBC bronze and silver programs are. There's been a new influx of coaches that are really not bowlers, meaning they didn't grow up like a lot of the bowlers did that originally went through bronze and silver. And some of the gold coaches we were bowling alley rats. You know what I mean? When we were in school, we were hanging out at the bowling alley. And so a lot of these folks are fairly new to bowling. They're league bowlers, but they really enjoy coaching, and maybe their sons or daughters got involved in bowling and they wanted to contribute. And so some of them have gone on to be silver, and now they're interested in gold. And we felt like that there needed to be a more advanced program than what was currently offered, not just here in the United States, but in the world. Because I've coached in about 38 different countries, and Ruben and his partner Sid Allen have coached in probably, I think Ruben, the last number he told me was 60. And those two guys are in the World Coaching Hall of Fame. So they have a lot more experience than we had in terms of team development and coaching development. So with the help of Ruben, who's had some experience with this, and Coach Randy and everything that my team brought together, Coach Rick and Alex and Brent and everybody, we really looked at the world and said, there's a big block of difference. Now, this KCMP, we rolled out the first version of it 4 months ago, and the first module was on direction. Now, we live in a very technical time, right? And so a lot of times people come to the training center because they want the secret. If I come here, right? And a lot of times the secret is right in front of their face, and it's very basic. So I'll give you an example. So there's only 5 fundamentals to scoring. And no matter what people do, whether they're buying a bowling ball, a new pair of shoes, a wrist glove, putting a surface on their ball or whatever, or taking a lesson, they're doing it for one reason, to increase their score. We forget that, right? So there's only 5 elements of scoring: direction, speed, angle, rev rate, and roll. And roll is constant for everybody. We know that the ball needs to be in roll to maximize the size of the pocket. Those four other elements are relative to the person and what level they're playing at. But still, the most fundamental key to bowling and scoring is direction. And 99.9% of our lessons at Kegel has to do with body and swing alignment relative to the line of play. Every single lesson. And so people don't even know people that have been coaching for 25 years don't even know the geometry of the lane. So when you say, for example, play 13 to 7, where do you slide and where do you put the ball down? Well, there's only one place to put a ball down on a straight line. And so when your body gets out of position, now you have to make compensations. And that compensation comes in from the right shoulder going up, the hand turning early, the ball being out in front and release, which causes too much axis rotation, slower ball speed, and a lot of other things. Torquing on the left knee, torquing on the low back. And we see it everywhere. Everywhere I go. It's always the same thing. And so coaches traditionally treat the symptom and not the cause.
Absolutely.
So this program was designed to teach coaches to go right back to the root of what they're seeing in the bowler. And we think that when you see a bowler that has a certain style, we call that a system. So every bowler has a system, and that system is reacting because there's a need for it. Every movement in the body that you see is happening because what happens in the start of the stance and the first two steps. And there were two gold coaches in this class. One of them, I was so happy, Susie Minshew, she was there. She has probably the most critical eye of any coach I have ever met. And I'm so happy she came because I knew that if she really liked this and that it challenged her, then I knew that we had done our job. And she was completely blown away. And because I don't really have that much, I'm not kind of wired for that kind of eye of detail. You know, I could have never made a lawyer or somebody like that. I'm kind of a a close enough guy, you know. And as my wife says, I'm a skimmer. I skim over things. So
Susie have a great eye. Susie's a great coach.
She does.
She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And when I invited her here the first time about 10 years ago, I said, for a camp, I said, now, I don't have a stopwatch like I've coached at your camp, and I kind of wing it. We have a schedule, but my schedule is a suggestion. So I know it makes you upset. So at the end of the camp, she was very complimentary. She says, you're a little more organized than you think you are. I said, well, I'm nowhere near your level. But so I was very pleased that we had 25 coaches in there of all different backgrounds, from the best of the best to people that had really just got involved in coaching about 5 years ago and everywhere in between. And we really, really hit the mark with this. And the test was very difficult. The test was optional. Nobody got a certificate of that you just came. You had to pay for the test. But the credibility of this program going forward, because you had to get 80%. It was not an open book test, and it was quite comprehensive. Most of the people took about 3.5 hours to do the test, and there was different phases of it. So when I really got the vision of this on the first module, which is direction, Ruben said to me, Del, can you imagine 1,000 coaches in the world that were competent at just direction in this material? And then I got it. Because we really need better coaching at the grassroots level, because most people get involved in coaching because their sons or daughters get involved, or they were a coach in another sport. Maybe they go bowling and they want to contribute, right? So in my experience, because my career ended because of injuries, no coaching is better than bad coaching. And when I say bad coaching, I mean misinformation. And unless you've really, really studied the game, if you send a bowler off in the wrong direction, you can hurt them. Not only will they not get to their full potential, but they can get injured. And we're seeing more and more injuries today, folks, at a much younger age. I would say half my freshmen that come into Weber already have knee and or lower back pain because of some of the things that I just mentioned, right? And then, you know, on a sports shot, on a recreational shot level, it's no one's fault, you know, that nobody knows the geometry. Number one, it's not being taught. Number two, when you bowl in a recreational condition, you don't get good feedback. Meaning, if I miss to the right, the ball goes to the left. If I miss to the left, the ball goes to the right. Right? Good feedback would be if I miss to the right, the ball goes to the right, and then if I miss to the left, the ball goes to the left. Right? And then finally, you know, you're dealing with you know, a society that wants quick, very, very quick results. So we don't have, including myself, right? Because we have a phone, we're not very patient. So to learn the fundamentals of the game, most people don't do that. They pick up a ball and they want to hook it, and they want to see quick results. They buy a high-performance ball, and, you know, they stand in the middle of the lane and they throw it to the outside. So why do I need to learn the geometry of the lane? You know? So there was the only reason why we did this was because there was a real need. The market that we're shooting for is very small. Not every coach is going to want to do this. But I can tell you just from the feedback that we got from this first class that this information is needed. And then the last thing I would say to you, this wasn't really the goal, but there's a big gap between a silver level coach and a gold level coach. And when you go and do your gold test at USBC, it is quite comprehensive. And it should be. So where do you go learn that gap of information? Because you can't go to school. You can't take an online course. This information is really in people's heads that have been doing it for a long time. And so when I look at what we've written so far and the vision of the project, this is really going to fill that gap. So if somebody is a silver and wants to be a gold, they can take these master 3-day programs, and they will have no problem passing the gold if they go through this. So it's really serving many, many purposes, and I'm very excited about it because already have gotten many comments from coaches that they see the world differently now, and they're having a much bigger impact on their students. It's really cool.
Think about the time that we've spent sitting in that silver level class. It makes sense because the gold level certification is more like receiving a doctorate. You've got to publish. There's a lot of pieces to it. So that's awesome. Thanks, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from those that go through that program. That's really cool.
Joe, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Del?
Well, I'm jealous right now. He's did his 10,000 steps for the day already, walking through his house. And I'm on my couch.
I swear I try to sit, and then when I talk, you know, I get this from my wife. My wife's from Italian. She's from Queens, New York, and she moves a lot, and she talks really. I've kind of inherited that from her. So
we know about
that.
None of us talk with
we
our
know
hands.
nothing about that.
I have a question for Del. How do you feel about the two-handed bowlers in the game these days? You think it's illegal?
I'm definitely not a Belmo hater, so I'll start with that. I love the two-handed style because it's really taught me to be a better one-handed coach. Because the two-handed mechanics is a little bit different than one-handed. A little bit. It's not totally different. But it's taught me to teach one-handed bowling to be more efficient. I've started to pull backswings down. I've changed timing sequences to take stress off the body. And I think you have to be a bit more athletic and a little bit stronger in your upper body to be two-handed. But I love it. I think Belmo's changed the game for the better. I'm definitely not one of these haters. I would say that the caveat for me would be that I believe everybody should have to put their thumb in the ball. And I don't think people talk about that enough. because squeezing the ball under pressure, as you guys know, is a factor. And also with reactive balls today, the more you get your rev rate up, the less axis rotation you can have on the ball to control, so that you can control the amount of hook, right? So as your rev rate goes up, your ball speed goes up. And so there's a perception that the guys on tour hook the ball more than they actually do. They have a lot of speed and a lot of rev rate, but there's a lot of amateurs out there that cover way more boards than the guys on tour. So I think if I was the czar of bowling, one of the things that I would do, because of how the hand is constructed, that everybody would have to put their thumb on the ball. And then you wouldn't have had all these weird drillings. And, for a two-handed ball, you got to weigh the ball from the bridge, and a one-handed bowler, you got to weigh the ball from the center of the grip. That would have taken care of everything. Yep, you can throw it with two hands, but you got to put your thumb in the ball. And then, the mechanics of that is way different. There's a big advantage of staying up the back of the ball with your thumb pointed to the if you're right-handed, to the right wall, and being able to hit the ball and not go around it. There's a big advantage of that, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's interesting. I have not heard the put your thumb in the ball. And next year, I guess maybe in a year or two, when you're the bowling czar, we can thank you for that.
The only czar I'm going to be is, whatever my wife needs me to do next. That's the czar I'm going to be.
The theme. It's funny that Joe asked that question. The theme here on each show, this has come up every conversation with bowling. We talked a little bit about it with Bill O'Neill on Saturday. One of our youth bowlers sent in a video yesterday of him bowling at home, Joseph, and they've got Kathy's asking a question. You coaching experience. So Joe's been bowling two-handed for a while, and part of it we talked a little bit about the fact that sometimes the young kids who are small in structure don't have the muscle mass to throw the ball with one hand, so they try it, they learn it in that fashion.
They adapt it. They adapt.
Yeah. And so Joe's a little bit unorthodox, where he's doing it back.
A backup
two-hand backup, and I mean he's doing awesome. And so Kathy was asking, how often do you even see that, Del, where it's not just a traditional two-hander, but somebody throwing from the other side of the lane?
Well, actually, but that's really funny, because we had a Jersey who next year he'll be a senior. Wow, believe it or not. And Matt set the all-time high school average in New Jersey. I think he averaged 249 for a high school season. And he's a member of our Warrior team. So his mother asked me in the recruiting process if we would change him. And I said, well, the bowling gods will dictate that. And what I meant by that was, throwing a backup ball is the opposite way in which your arms want to turn in. So if you just sit there and you relax, your arms want to pronate to the inside. And I don't know if that's the right word. It sounds like it. But so Matt threw a very slow right. He was a right-handed, two-handed backup bowler. And the problem is because of what it does, it didn't allow him to be very versatile. And as I used to tease him, his ball was allergic to spares. I told him one time, I said, Matt, I think you need to call Ebonite and get them they sent you the wrong balls, because all the ones they sent you, the balls are allergic to spares. So you need to send them the ones that like to knock the spares down. But the problem was he ran into a wall. And the wall was he couldn't get enough ball speed, and he didn't have enough options with hand position, because he had to create axis rotation with a rotation, as you know, of putting a clockwise spin on the ball. And in college bowling, the next level is going on tour. So the top level college bowlers are really, really good. And if you look at the tour right now, most of those guys bowled for top level teams, and they've had great training. So he decided to go to a conventional right to left motion, and that opened the window for him because it was less stressful to his body. He actually had to slow down the mechanics to allow the hand to cut to the inside, and his swing came from the outside of the line to the inside of the line. So I would say if he was a local bowler and all he did was bowl in recreational conditions and bowl county tournaments and city tournaments and state tournaments, I think he was on his way to being one heck of a local bowler. But a coach's decision, guys, is all based on who do they have in front of them, how often do they practice, and at what level are they participating. That's what dictates the lesson. So if I have a college kid that wants to go on tour, the trail I'm going to take him with his mechanics and his training is going to be different than most of my lessons are league bowlers that say, they bowl 3 or 6 games a week. They bowl the state tournament. Maybe they bowl nationals, and they just don't want to be the worst bowler on their team. They want to get a little better and they want to be more competitive. That's a lot different situation than working with a college kid or somebody that wants to be on Team USA. So as long as the style allows them to maximize scoring at whatever level they're playing, I'm okay with that. And as long as they're not putting undue stress on the 3 most common injuries we see is wrist, knee, and lower back.
That's true. Before we let you go, and Melissa's got a question for you too.
I do.
Sure.
What are some drills? Thank you. Drills that the kids can be doing at home or adults that can keep their game up while we can't be on the lanes.
This is great. I just had a conference call with my team, a virtual conference call this morning, and we're going to be doing some videos in the next 2 days from home because I'm getting bombarded with this question from all over the world. So it's really simple. My best tool, you got to have some feedback. So get a mirror, 6-7 foot mirror, put a line through a mirror. Probably the best thing to do is use some painter's tape or maybe hang some yarn to the middle of the mirror. Put a line on the ground about maybe 6 to 8 foot long and connect the line on the ground with the mirror so that you have 2 lines that are 90 degrees to each other. And you can do all kinds of drills. Now, the most common thing we see is the swing behind the back and the hips open to the line of play. So now you're getting correct feedback. Your arm swing should go on the side of your body. And I hate the term backswing. So most people, the ball gets to the inside of line of play because the ball is in the middle of the back or at least on the right butt cheek. And now the ball has to come over the top. Your move is over the top. Well, the arm swing is actually the opposite of that. It comes straight back on your side and then comes to the inside about 2 or 3 inches. Coach Fred Borden called it the 2-inch slot or the 3-inch slot, right? So with that, if you have a mirror and 2 lines, man, you can do one-step drills. You can do release drills with like a softball, practice axis rotation drills. You can do 1-steps. You can do swing and slides. And now because you're in the mirror and we all have phones with video, you can take video of you doing drills to make sure you're doing it correctly. You can also take, I just got 3 videos from Mabel Cummings, shocker. She just sent me videos the other day. And, she's probably does more videos or does more drills than anybody that I know, working on her physical game. So I think a mirror, 2 lines, and getting good feedback from your phone, I think you can do an array of the video of the drills that I just mentioned in a mirror. But you definitely want to get good feedback to make sure you're doing the movements correctly.
That's awesome. And are you going to be sharing those videos on the Kegel Facebook page, on Kegel.net? Where are they going to be found?
Yeah, the Kegel Facebook page, Kegel.net, and plus our own personal Facebook pages. And all of the coaches are going to be doing these from home. So, I told Randy, I said, that holy shirt that you wear all the time, don't wear that one. Wear a Weber t-shirt or something, dress casual, don't dress in our normal stuff. So I'm actually going to do something on the sidewalk, I think, because we're in Florida. The weather's really nice right now. And they're saying, outside is pretty, is okay, because of the UV light and everything. So, and then people are posting some really cool stuff on Facebook right now. People that are really hungry to get back in the bowling centers. Pretty creative stuff. So, but anyway, That's
awesome.
it.
Thank you so much, Del.
Thank you so much, Del.
Thank you,
Hey,
Del.
thanks for everything that you're doing, especially right now when everybody kind of needs a boost of morale and everybody's hungry to get back in the bowling center. And their people, my kids are still going to school at Weber, meaning everything's classes on virtual, and we have the training center shut down obviously right now. And they're like, Coach, I'm going crazy. What should I do? And I go, you already know the answer, man. You get the mirror out, do some drills. I want to throw some bowling balls, Coach. So thanks for tuning in, and thank you so much for what you guys do and for having me.
Oh, thanks you,
Del.
Del.
We'll be sure to share those videos, and then there's more information on the coaching masters program on Kegel.net. So for those that were watching that were interested in learning more, thanks again, Del. We'll talk to you soon.
Just stay tuned. Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, Joe.
Hi,
Hey,
Joe.
it was great. Del was great.
We should all be jealous. Del got all of his steps
He got them all in.
So how are you holding up?
We're holding up. We're trying to write sports stories, but we're going to be segueing into the newsroom starting tomorrow. We do a lot more coronavirus stories. We're running on sports stuff right now. Everything is shut down, as you guys know, including the bowlers.
You guys are all working from home, then I shall assume.
Yeah, the place is shut down till March 30th. We're going to reassess, I guess, next week and let us know. But I'm thinking it's going to be the 15th or the 30th of April.
Yeah.
So I usually work from home myself like 3-4 days. So this is not a big deal for me. But, I usually go in once or twice a week. So, I'm happy we're working from the house. But I'd rather see the games go on, the athletes get back on the fields and back on the lanes. That's the way it should be.
Slowly but surely.
So opening day was coming up. Baseball opening day was coming up. It's kind of a sad time here for some Met, and there are some Yankee fans somewhere.
Well, we're looking forward to a good Met year. I'm a big Met fan, as you are yourself, Naz. But I was looking at maybe 90, 92 wins, maybe a wild card spot in the playoffs. But that right now is on hold. So
Yep.
hopefully we can get it going by June 1st.
We're hoping.
It'd be nice. I mean, it would be nice to get those tickets put to you.
Yeah, we'll get use on tickets. So yeah, we're a little sad.
So you've been doing this thing for quite some time, and I know the stories I've read through the years, and of course of late the fun stories that you've been writing with it, and they're great because it gives people an insight to old school bowling on Staten Island, and I love the traction that it's been getting. People just talking about the old victory lanes and the stories. After each one of those highlights that you've done, Bowling on the Green, the Lyceum, bowlers come in and they're talking about it. And right. We hear these great memories and stories. So I have to say thank you for doing that. That has to be a fun thing for you, I'm sure.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's great. I go back into the archives, and the vintage stuff resonates with the readers, and we get emails, and they want to see more of that stuff. But a lot of our photos are in the basement of the Advance, and when I want to do stuff, I have to go digging for photos, and it takes like 3, 4, 5 hours. My back breaks after a while. But I'm gonna keep on doing that stuff because I know people like that, especially the bowlers. And we're just gonna keep on churning that stuff out. I'm gonna probably do one next week. You give me an idea. I get a lot of my stuff from a lot of my stories from ideas from you guys. You call me up, you give me an email, I'll get you a story. I mean, that's how I do things usually, because we don't have a crystal ball at the Advance. We don't know what's going on. You guys know what's going on. I saw a question up there I want to answer from Mr. Horowitz. He wanted to know why we treat Staten Island High School bowling as second-class citizens. In 1998, we had 32 guys in the sports staff. We're down to 3, including me. So we're very we're very low on our resources, what we can cover or not. We try to chase big stories and big events. But if you have something you want to share with us, a 120 bowl that's averaging, 180 now, or you have twins on a bowling team or triplets, give us a call, email me, and we'll send someone out there and we'll do a story. I mean, Naz and Frank, you guys know you have something to share with me, you call me up, and I do the story usually within a couple of days, maybe a week the latest. I mean, that's how you have to stay in touch with me and, keep in touch with the writers, let them know what's going on out there.
And we have always, Joe has been great to the bowling community. He's always, responded to our requests for stories, and he's always really been He's been a great resource for us. He really, really
Yeah,
has.
and really, and of late, between you and Charlie, and I can't remember the young fella's name.
Nick Regina.
Thank you. Go. Picking up stories. It's been great. So we really appreciate it, and we also need to step up our game and make sure that you have those stories to tell. So that's a good reminder. I know we usually send you a note and, hey, go check it out, and you always.
Frank, you've been so great the past 10 years. I have to probably put you on staff and put you on payroll. It's been great. I mean, you write it all out. It just makes some minor adjustments, some minor edits, and things like that. But I mean, the stuff you send me is great. But I think it's also great for the bowling community, the bowling people, your customers, and the ones at Show Place and the ones at Country Lanes. They want to see stuff like that. So even if you send me a little paragraph and a phone number, I can call the guy up and expand on the story. It's that easy. So keep that good stuff coming. The bowlers deserve to have it. It's never going to be how it was, 30, 40, 50 years ago. We used to put every score from every league, over 220, over 240 for the men, whatever that might be. That's not going to ever happen again, unfortunately. But we can still keep the game in the news. And that's what I wrote about years ago. I try to keep the game in the news. I try to keep people talking about bowling. And, whether they like what I wrote or not, I really didn't care, but I just did it my best.
I know that. So since you mentioned that,
Right.
Yesterday we talked a little bit about the series that you wrote. We didn't start the fire.
Yes.
And, just not that in particular, but was there a story that was particularly special to you, or series that you really, really felt strongly about?
I won an AP award. We got second place for fans in the stands about parents messing up the games to their kids. We won the award back in, I think it was 1998 of the year 2000. Three advanced staffers worked on it, and I think it was, I forget the name of the series. It might have been something like Deadly Cheers or something like that, or something like that. But that was the one I took the most pride in, because I see today as a coach myself and a parent that the parents do ruin it for their kids. They do ruin it for the coaches. Some people walk away from the game, some well-respected coaches, because they can't deal with the parents any longer. It's not like they're college coaches and you could just say, hey, I'm in charge. I mean, when you're running a travel team and a travel softball team or something like that, the parents have a lot of say in the matter. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work out for the coaches. It doesn't benefit the coaches at all, and hurts the kids, to be honest with you. It hurts the players.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And on Facebook, I constantly share those stories of the, like you said, high-level, talented, and coaches that really have their heart in coaching that have to walk away from it because parents have just made it an untenable situation for them. And it's sad. It's really, because it does ruin it for the kids.
Yes, it really is sad.
And we love our parents, but
we love them.
We absolutely love our parents, and they would agree. Sometimes we should just lock the door and let them hang out outside. And this would have been the perfect opportunity to keep an event going, lock everybody else outside while the kids can compete.
Exactly, would have been great.
Perfect. I mean, we certainly couldn't do what we do without the parents as well.
Absolutely.
So we say it tongue in cheek, but they joke around about it too. And we're lucky. We really are, for the most part, lucky with the group of parents that we have and their kids that are involved. We hear these horror stories from the baseball, other sports, and it's disheartening. I mean, listen, any group of people can cause those types of issues, but I mean, we have to say, for the most part, we really are really lucky.
We're lucky. We are lucky.
And they understand that too. So that's cool.
Oh, we have a request for you to reboot the We Didn't Start the Fire series. A couple of our readers or watchers would like to read it. So I don't know if that's something that's on Staten Island Live, or somebody could put it up so they can read it.
They want to see it. They want to see what we did years ago. Or saw the new series.
Yes. Or
I could probably pull the old ones out of the archives. What year was that about, Naz? I know me and Ray worked on it. I go back to 1992 in my digital archives. If it was before that, I'd have to actually rewrite those whole things, and it'll take me hours. So I was down at Country Lanes with Ray, for weeks doing that stuff. But if I have them digitally, I can definitely send them out at times like this. Would be great.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Kenny Soto was following up on the question, on the comment you made about the posting of the scores, certainly relative to the staff and probably real estate on the paper. The cool thing about what you've been doing, and in this day and age with SI Live, photos, those videos, there's some great content that we can plug into SI Live that's not necessarily in print. So you guys have been creative doing that. And so you want to talk a little bit about the creativity and the things that maybe the stuff that you like to see that you're not doing now, but as a sports writer, as the editor, what content you think you can deliver, or we can help, or even we can help deliver with you.
Right.
Well, that was perfect with the call-ups the other day. Something like that. We're getting a load of page views on that. What I mean by page views is clicks. We got like 5,000 clicks on stories like that because it's human interest. It involves two people that are well respected in their communities. You know, their coaches and their teachers, and one's a vice principal. So I mean, there's a lot of outreach there. So we look for stuff like that. We look for stuff like that comes from Country Lanes. You can even link to our stories on SILive.com. You can put a link to SILive.com on the Rabs Country Lanes website. We'd love to have that. That's more readership for you, more readership for us. So anything you guys can do to stir up the interest, that'll be great. As far as content goes, we're looking for human interest stories, hard-hitting stories, things that people want to read, kind of good news stories, but they could be sad. Maybe people recovering from cancer or something like that. We did 3 obits in the past 3 days. I did, my staff and I, and we got a bunch of hits, but it's they're sad stories. And I'd rather write human interest stories about people that are alive and well. And you guys can provide a lot of that. And the people, any sport, I'm talking about boxing, bowling, fencing, baseball, high school softball, anything. There's thousands of stories. Everybody has a story. I learned that years ago when I started 34 years at the Advance. I started in 1986. And my boss told me everybody has a story to tell. And he was right about that. They have more than one story to tell. And the bowlers, they're all characters. They have 10 stories to tell. So, I'm never short on stories of the bowlers.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because as you were saying that, I was going to ask you, all right, so of the stories and the people and those stories, who's your favorite character that you've interviewed and had the opportunity to tell their story?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of great bowlers from Staten Island, George Catella, Kevin Rourke. I mean, Dennis, Sheree, what was his first name? Jeff Sheree. I still picture this kid as a 16-year-old bowling down at Country Lanes, because that's the way I picture him. I know he's like 47 now, 48. But, I mean, those guys are characters. The John and the Chicos of the world. Those guys are great. Bobby Spallone, Joe Albanese, going back to the 70s and 80s now. Ray Laursen, Rob Wilkinson. I mean, great stories, great characters, guys that taught me the game. They taught me what bowling was all about and the people. And, bowlers are kind of, a little weird, a little strange. You have to, I was a bowler myself. I bowled 1970s as a junior with Vinny D'Ambrosio at Sunset Lanes. I also bowled at Columbian Lanes in the men's league when, back in the 80s and 90s. Columbian Lanes is one of the toughest houses on Staten Island. It's gone now, but you got to tread lightly with the bowlers, but there's a lot of stories to be told there. And I enjoyed doing it since '86. When I came aboard at the Advance, they asked me what I wanted to do. I said, I just want to write, give me stuff. So they give me bowling, high school wrestling, things like that. And the more I was with the bowlers, the more I learned about them and what they do and what not to do, what not to say. But I didn't always want to write fluff pieces and features. I had to write some hard hitting stuff, and the bowlers didn't like it. But you know what? That's what the world's all about. Sometimes you're gonna like stuff, sometimes you're not gonna like it.
Well, we did mention that yesterday, that
right.
You would write stories that would spur conversation, not necessarily about a topic that might not be popular with a particular person, but it like you said, it was a discussion. It spurred discussion, and it never came from a place of disrespect or looking down on anybody. But it was, let's talk about this. So we
right.
appreciated that too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, keep the game in the news, keep the conversation going. And that's the way it should be now, especially during this coronavirus. So you guys with this show are doing a great thing, I think, for the people of Staten Island, the bowlers of Staten Island, and the bowlers from everywhere that want to tune in and watch it. So I think you're doing a great thing, and I think you should keep on doing it until as long as this goes on.
Well, that's the plan. So we've been saying we're doing live daily until further notice.
Right.
We're not getting sick of each other just yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're looking forward to continue. I mean, we're looking forward to continuing this. This is something that we've had on the back burner, and not necessarily daily, but a weekly piece.
Yeah.
But to tell some of those stories, I noticed in that list of characters, Rocky Salemo's name didn't come up.
Well, I forgot about him. I guess Rocky's the biggest character of them all. I mean, a great guy, a funny guy. And my friend Jim Wagner, who retired 2 years ago, that was Jim Wagner's last story on Rocco Salemo. So Jimmy always has that to carry around now. Rocky was his last subject to his story. And it was a great story. And I watched that YouTube of Rocky when he told about these tales from years ago when he was setting people up on the bowling lanes. That's Rocky Salemo. I mean, a great guy, a great character of the sport. And that's why I like writing about the sport. And that's why I'm still involved.
It's great. I will say Jim had a good time doing that. I remember Jim following him around, and I think Jim was a little taken back at first.
Yeah, it took him a while to kind of get used to Rocky.
But he loved every single bit of it. Then we've got stories like Chippy Reno from years ago. That's cool. Joe, I mean, really, thank you for popping in with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are always welcome to pop in and say hello. We'll tap you again.
Anytime you want me to come back, just let me know. Melissa, I covered you years ago in high school bowl. Not that long ago, but it was a pleasure watching you bowl. Excellent bowler.
And the cool thing about that, Melissa's taken that back and giving back to the kids.
Yeah.
So Melissa's heading up our Team Gold as the head coach and organizing that group of kids, and she's really doing some great stuff here. So we appreciate all that she does.
This is the third year. It's amazing.
That's great. That sounds like a story to me. So when you're done with that, send me a message with Melissa's number. I'll have someone get in touch and we'll do something. That's a great story. Stuff like that, is what we need. Keep the game going. Keep it going. Keep the stories coming.
So when we're back and running, we'll have you come. We'll get you to the next practice where they're gearing up for what we're hoping is junior golds. We're hoping is junior golds in July. And I mean, we've got this great group of kids, and we want them to aspire to be that next level, and that's what the program's about. So we'll make sure we give you the opportunity to tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, the junior bowlers on Staten Island always amaze me. They get better and better every year. I mean, when I started covering high school bowling back in the 80s at the Advance, the high average was like 175, 180. Now they were all averaging like 210, 215, 220. The girls are averaging the same thing almost. It's incredible. I mean, so a job well done by all the junior coaches. I know Naz and Melissa, all the people that have trained these kids through the years. They're unbelievable bowlers, and they're getting better every year.
For sure. We've got Melissa, Naz, Ray, and our coaches to truly to thank for that. So thanks for that, Joe. Joe, thanks again for joining us. Go ahead, go relax, go continue writing stories. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Joe.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thanks.
Oh, we should have kept him. We should have kept him for Maria.
Oh, that's all right. We're gonna bring back Joe at some point. I mean, he's got some stories he could certainly tell. He could probably be his own show.
He definitely could.
Just let him tell stories.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, that's hysterical. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Del. But before we close, we've been doing the meme of the day, and so Melissa shared this one. And this is so because Melissa's here with us today. This is today's meme of the day.
And if you know Melissa, then you'll understand.
I mean, it's just to build some light to your day. Everything that's horrible. There's a bunch of penguins just walking down the stairs. That is pretty cute.
It's sweet. I mean,
You get to learn how to do that. Oh, we have our very own penguin expert here because I asked the question, did they have to be taught how to do that? And Melissa has the answer to that question.
No, they're rock hopper penguins, so that's what they're used to. They're used to jumping off rocks and falling all over the place like I do, so it's fine.
So this is fake news, fake meme, like they just took them and put them on stairs knowing they would do it?
So?
I think it's great. I mean, it's certainly
It is still cute.
Penguins
It's
are
really
adorable
cute.
no matter what type of penguin it is.
I mean, that is true. That is certainly true. We've got the next few days, we've got a busy lineup of special guests. Tomorrow, tune in. We have Greg Mocker from WPIX 11. He's our fantastic celebrity host of our Bowling Against Breast Cancer Bowl-a-thon. And again, we talked about it the other day. I don't know what he's going to talk about, It could be just about anything.
It could be anything with
And he's been tuning in and watching us. So thank you, Greg. We look forward to talking with you tomorrow, whether it's the MTA, Pizza Rats. It
could be anything.
Could be anything. And then Thursday afternoon, Chad Murphy, the executive director of USBC, is going to join us. There's a lot happening in the bowling world. I mean, and just in Chad's life alone. And so we're looking forward to having our friend join us and talking bowling and talking a little bit what's happening at USBC. And then Saturday,
Joe Calandrillo and Joe Bruno will be joining us again for Pro Bowler Saturday. And they will be interviewing PBA and PWBA champion Kelly Kulik.
The one and only Kelly Kulik.
One and only. And we're hoping she will dance also. I've heard she loves to dance, and we're hoping that she will dance for us.
And maybe some insight. She loves to cook, so maybe some insight to what she's cooking at home during this time.
That would be awesome.
And I'm sure she's got to, you want to keep yourself in shape. So I'm sure there are things she can talk about doing at home. And then we are here live every day at 2 p.m. on Facebook. And then after, if you miss it, you can join it watch and listen to us on YouTube on our Rabs Country Lanes page. But Sunday, we're going to be on at a special time. So we want you to join us for dinner while you're sitting down having dinner with your family, whatever it might be. But Sunday's show, we're going to be on at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
with a special guest. So mark your calendars. We're 2 p.m. for the rest of the week. And then a special time on Sunday at 7 p.m.
Very special.
So we appreciate you tuning in to us today. Thank you from us here live inside Rabs with our studio audience. Thank you all for being here today.
Just one little sad note before we leave. Last night, one of our former coaches and a member of our bowling family passed. Maria Heath. We're very sorry to say that she has passed. She was a very special part of our family. She's involved in the sport for over 35 years, coaching her children, her grandchildren, and she was coaching in our youth programs up until a year ago, and she coached for close to 20 years, and she touched a lot of people, and she's going to be missed. She's going to be missed.
I hate to laugh, but seeing her come down, and she had some spunk, and I loved her to death. I'll never hear the song La Bamba ever the same. Yes. Bingo Mama, Karaoke Mama. She just was. She was everything, and so we're certainly going to miss her. And we send our love to the Heath and Gomez
and
family.
Prayers to the family,
without a doubt. And so on a lighter note, Rob Butler tells us. Rob, I don't know if you were with us before, but we gave you a shout out. But he's telling us our show can't be on at 7. The Donna Zajac Memorial League has to bowl, and I mean they bowl here. So we're assuming that we won't be here bowling this upcoming weekend. But if we are, I mean that would be amazing. But we know we'll be tuning into your simulation of bowling via the Facebook page. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until then,
have a great day.
Bye.